Here it comes. I knew that was happening.
But it was so gently.
And welcome to Cowboy Logic, everyone. We missed you last week.
We did miss you, but
lots has
you had
happened.
a good time going back to Manila, Utah, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, you all did.
It was a lot of fun. And we had a lot of fun at, there were two big old weddings, one for RAV and one for J6ers, which we will get to later on in the show.
Yep.
Because we had all kinds of great video to show you guys. But in the meantime, can I just say, I know, these little wins are kind of nice. The Southern Poverty Law Center finally could bite the dust. Now, obviously, they got a lot of money, supposedly $800 million, if you think about it. But before Charlottesville, it was like $30 million. And then after Charlottesville, it popped to well over $100 million. I mean, it's obvious. You've got, how ironic is it to have what supposedly started to fight the KKK and the Aryan Nation, all that stuff, actually funding it.
Funding them.
And what I want to know is, where did all those nice guys with the tiki torches and the pants with the perfect, crease down the middle and their masks all matching that, came out of Hertz rent-a-trucks in Charlottesville that were never seen again.
In other places.
Yeah, but we're never seen again after Charlottesville.
Never saw any of those guys.
Ridiculous. Anyhow, so Biden cites Charlottesville and the SPLC work for running in 2020. Now, the SPLC, again, funded it all, as you've been seeing now the last couple of weeks. They saw their donations fall when Obama got elected because, obviously, how can you be a racist nation if you elect a black president not once, but twice? So they funded the unrest and the organizations like the KKK and the Aryan Nation while putting Charlie Kirk and Ben Carson also on the supremacist list. So let's review here.
When I spoke to the mom who lost her daughter as a consequence of those neo-Nazis and white supremacists come out of fields in America with torches, carrying Nazi banners, singing the same sick anti-Semitic bile that was sung in Germany in the 30s. And when her daughter was killed, the press went to the then President Trump and said, "What do you think?" He said, "They're very fine people on both sides." I knew then. I knew I had to do something. And that's why I decided to run. Because democracy was literally at stake. And, and then he evidenced everything that we thought. January 6th, when attack on the Capitol. He talked about now, because he now talks about making sure they're all let out of prison. They're going to pardon them. Think of this. Every other time the Ku Klux Klan's been involved, they wore hoods so they're not identified. Under his presidency, they came out of those woods with no hoods, knowing they had an ally. That's how I read it. They knew they had an ally in the White House.
And then he said, veins bulging out of their neck. He kept repeating that, the veins bulging out of their neck. This is 81 million votes, my ass. I'm sorry. So Thomas Speciale, that's a song, folks.
81 million votes, her ass.
Okay, terrorism expert and former senior advisor
nice
DNI.
You got there.
Thomas Speciale and I had a very long conversation about this. Now, the big thing is it's very similar to the Russia hoax. They had to find a way to bring it here to the United States, and they did that through saying that, I guess that General Flynn was compromised, and this way they were able to kind of spy on Americans. Well, here you've got Americans already, so what do you do? Because the FBI can't spy on Americans. So the FBI had sources within the SPLC. The SPLC had sources with extremist organizations, and it's, they found ways to work together. So the SPLC became the link to allow the FBI to spy on American citizens. There was no white supremacists.
Proud Boys, Oath Keepers.
Yep, they're on the group.
Oath Keepers.
Yep.
Wait till you guys see the fingerprints of all of this.
No,
it's all over the place.
This is unbelievable.
And we've been talking about this for 4 years.
Yeah, we have. All right. There is a graphic that I think you guys ought to see. Europe is even worse. Europe looks like, ants flying to poop and flies flying to poop from all these illegals going into Europe. Well, here in the United States, it's not much better. Check this out.
No fun being an illegal alien. I tell you it's no
Each blip represents 100 illegals during Biden's presidency. He admits to 15 million. It was really more like 20 million, I think, okay? And they all want to be here. And here you have Americans saying how bad America is. I would say foreigners know a lot better than Americans right here. They know how good they have it here, and that's why they're all coming here. We do not want to become Europe. Not only are illegals included in the census, they are included in H-1B visas, green card holders, and optional work permit holders. So this is unbelievable. It's so sickening how we, the people, are footing the bill for this. It really is. Meanwhile,
Congress doesn't give a damn.
Yeah. You've got Thom Tillis siding with all the Thom Tillis siding, and you know who's even worse, obviously, is what's his face, Cornyn in Texas, but hopefully he is on the way out.
Well, and Thune. You can thune a fish. No, what is it? You can thune a.
You can tune a guitar, but you thune a guitar, but you can't thune a fish.
That's right. We're getting old. Took us a while to remember that one.
Yes. So I can't believe you said that. It's pretty funny. We can't pass the SAVE Act, but we can pass the Rotisserie Chicken Act. SNAP programs are okay with rotisserie chickens now. That had to be put through.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. That's one of the big things that they had to push through. Let's look at history now. Bill Federer, he's a great historian. By 2030, he said, there will be a majority Muslim population in Europe, and Sharia law is not compatible, obviously, with Western culture or our Constitution right here. But in Europe, that's only 4 years from now.
So they say that by 2030, there will be a majority Muslim population in Europe, and they'll just flat out vote in Sharia law. And it won't just be no-go zones where they take over entire neighborhoods in Paris or around Belgium and London. No, they'll take over entire cities. And people forget, Egypt was completely Christian for 6 centuries. It's not anymore. All of North Africa was completely Christian for 6 centuries. It's not anymore. All of Turkey, all 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation were all in Turkey. And they were all taken over by the Muslim Turks. Constantinople was the largest Christian city in the world, and the largest Christian church in the world for hundreds of years was the Hagia Sophia, and it got turned into a mosque, and so they want to do the same thing with the Vatican. And recently they allowed Muslim prayers in the Vatican, so we see that's headed in that direction.
Wow. It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room in 90 seconds.
And the tremendous number of burning of churches in Europe.
And if you talk about this,
Islamic immigration.
Yeah, if you talk about this, you're racist and you're homophobic or Islamophobic. I mean, look what they're doing in Minneapolis, too. You can't have the 10 Commandments up there in the school system, but the Minneapolis public school system just allowed prayer rooms and prayer rugs as well. I mean, I want to know where the women's groups are. You have absolutely zero rights if you're a woman under Sharia law. There's some dope in New Jersey, I believe a state senator or legislator or whatever, who said she was a Democrat and then all of a sudden ran as a Republican. So she ran unopposed. So she got in and she's got the full burqa. I mean, everything completely covering her face. Have you seen any of the videos where women can be publicly flogged if their husband just wants to do it? Or if you're raped, you can be killed because it's your fault you're raped? That is Sharia law. We're going to have John Guandolo on in a couple weeks talking about this. Folks, Sharia law is not compatible with the U.S. Constitution. We've got a couple great, strong potential lawmakers here in Georgia. Actually, Greg Dolezal, who's running for lieutenant governor, he has proposed the anti-Sharia law in Georgia they're trying to push through. But and they're doing it a little bit in Texas, too. But I think most people have no idea. They just think it's another religion. And you don't realize it's a way of life. In fact, in Queens, not far from where Donald Trump grew up, there was a church, I believe, was built in the early 1830s, has mosques all around it, just burned to the ground. got very, very
So weird
little.
how that happens.
How about Notre Dame? Oh, yeah, that was, they were working on some electrical stuff.
It was electrical
there.
problem.
Yeah, right. My backside. I mean, this is unbelievable
Your
what's going
backside.
on. My
We're
backside.
talking about your backside a lot. 81 million votes. Your ass.
Oh, man. But it's just, I don't understand how people can be so naive when all you have to do is, on social media right now, is look at what's going on in Europe. Ireland, at least, is trying to take people back. And so take their country back and stand back against the federal government. This federal government, in my opinion, is just a bunch of a uniparty group that could care less about we, the worker bees, who are just footing the bill for all these billions of dollars that's enriching them. And it's got to stop. We'll be back right after this.
Watching all these pretty things. Get down in that Georgia clay and I'll find peace at the bottom of a real talk. Cuts have scarred, sharp pains have faded. It's not the old place, but it's somewhere just the same. I'm looking back and thinking fondly of memories that make me who I am. There are the milestones to win. Times will be better. 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 Miles adding up, miles going by. Time to think it out. Ask God why. White lines ahead, white lines behind. Looking in my rear view till I lose my mind. Nothing to my left, nothing to my right. Nothing ever changes. Driving through the night, another step away from how we used to be. Counting the days till times will be better. Miles adding up, miles going by. Mile after mile, sheltered by the sky. Never feel the progress. Am I standing still, looking to the heavens? Summoning my will. Miles adding up, I'm closer to my goal. Paying all my dues, finally on the road. Another step away from how we used to be. Counting the days till times will be better. Times will be better. Times will be better.
All right, you guys haven't heard that one either. We've just got all kinds of songs coming out of the studio. That's a song, actually, when was that written? 1989,
Really, that
maybe?
long ago?
89,
Well, I remember
90.
you working on it
Yep.
a little bit
Yep.
before.
A buddy of mine, John Seckman, and I did a lot of writing back in that time, and that particular song is called Times Will Be Better. And I felt it would be appropriate to put that song with one of those Dilly Meme Team memes. I think those are great, and
Yep.
you guys see a lot of them that we play. But now that we're doing the music thing again, maybe we'll pull the audio and put ours in.
And being a Beatles fan, I want to follow it up with, can't get much worse.
Then what?
It's getting better all the time. It can't get much worse. Beatles, sorry.
Not a Beatles fan,
Yeah.
not a Bruce Springsteen fan.
How can you not
while
be a
we're on
Beatles
Bruce
fan?
Springsteen,
Oh, no.
all of his stuff sounds the same.
It doesn't.
Every bit of it.
Sadly, it doesn't.
Every bit of it.
But he has lost me. He's a billionaire that pays no taxes. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Actually, what really got me upset was when he did an interview with Obama and basically laughed at Clarence Clemens
Yeah.
and race relations. Unbelievable. The hypocrisy is amazing. Speaking of hypocrisy,
$2,900 tickets.
what's wrong with the National RNC and the DNC for that matter? I want to know, first it was Whatley, who did nothing. I mean, anybody in charge of the RNC could have gotten Donald Trump elected. I'm sorry. It was a piece of cake.
Donald Trump and the American people got him elected,
Exactly.
not the RNC.
It's the down ballot that counted, and we probably
Nice job,
lost.
Whatley, on the down ballot.
And we probably lost at least 5 Senate seats, and I want to say 10 to 12 congressional seats by not. I mean, there's no way you voted for Donald Trump in Arizona and Ruben Gallego in Arizona
Exactly.
and not Kari Lake. And at least Gallego's gone. So, unfortunately, Whatley is the contestant now for Senate in North Carolina. So this guy,
Contestant?
Joe
Come on
Gruters,
down, Whatley.
Joe Gruters is in there now. What is he doing? I want to know. The Democrat Party seems okay with the theft being okay, and then they're just totally behind it. The Atlantic, by the way, which is owned by Steve Jobs' widow, so just keep that in mind, says the theft is now progressive chic, that you can go steal things, it doesn't matter. Take a few lemons from Whole Foods and, raid
That's
a
what
Nike
you were talking about this morning. I'm going, what the hell does that mean?
That theft is called progressive chic, like it's cool. Well, in 1785, Immanuel Kant said that you treat others like you'd want them to treat you. That's the golden rule. Well, apparently this country, at least if you're a Democrat, has...
2 ex-NASA engineers just created a portable AC that is making old expensive models obsolete.
forgotten that. This influencer, Hassan Piker, that I talked about last week on the morning show on RAV, he's a Muslim, and he says, yep, communism just fine, steal whatever you want. And he's got millions of followers. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Morally bankrupt, ladies and gentlemen. We've been saying it for 13 or 14 years now.
Meanwhile, the Save America Act still just lingers on, but they made sure they passed the Rotisserie Chicken Act or whatever it was, allowing schools to feed your kids rotisserie chicken. This guy, Anthony Galley, I'm starting to follow him. He's pretty good now. If you have problems with your eyes, you might want to put sunglasses on.
No, you got to be careful. This video, this is a disclaimer. We were advised by producer Ron that we must say this. If you are subject to epileptic seizures, turn your head away from the TV right now.
Sometimes the racism is too much. Just look at all these racist countries that require photo ID. And after all, who needs photo ID when cheating is so rare? But seriously, we should require documentation to vote because our elections are frequently decided by less than 1% of it. And so even if there's less than a 1% chance any given one is stolen, long term, this becomes a statistical certainty. Which means if we don't want suspicion to someday tear apart our republic, then we must pass the Save America Act.
Chuck Schumer in a sombrero.
Man, I'm glad that I needed sunglasses for that one, actually. But yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable what's going on because they're getting away with it. What just happened, and a lot of people are saying this might have been a gift with this redistricting in Virginia. All of a sudden, I believe mail-in votes was 70 to 21. Mm-hmm. So obviously mail-in voting is rife for fraud. California sends a mail-in ballot to every single person, plus the illegals and everything else. So, maybe this is going to start exposing this. So meanwhile, you've got John Thune.
But nothing will be done about it.
Well, John Thune,
Expose it all you want. Nothing's going to be done.
Why don't we just make John Thune a Democrat? Recess
Because you can Thune a piano, but you can't Thune a fish.
Recess appointments.
Got her.
Oh, God. Recess appointments that Thune hasn't done. 0 for Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Clinton had 139. Bush had 171. Obama at least had 32. Trump, 0. Thune needs to go. Save the
fish.
America.
Hey, here's the thing, and we're probably going off schedule here a little
bit. That was the radiators. That I think
radiators.
I call it radiators.
Hey,
sorry, I'm from
here's
New Jersey.
the thing. The reason that's so damn funny is because she made it her entire career with all of the majors.
I never left.
And she never
Fox.
left. And
I did in between reports, but I never left. They tried so hard.
And she never cussed.
My producers tried so hard to get me to laugh at Fox, and it never worked. Okay. This needs to stop as well. Okay. You can thune a piano, but you can't thune a fish. The National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. They're pushing it. The latest state is Virginia. Is this constitutional?
Virginia's governor just signed a law that makes your vote for president irrelevant, and almost nobody is talking about it. On April 13th, Governor Spanberger quietly signed HB 965, a bill that joins Virginia to something called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Here's what that actually means. If Virginia votes one way for president, but the rest of the country goes the other direction, Virginia's electoral votes go with the country, not with who you voted for. Now, the framing they're selling is every vote matters equally, which sounds great, but here's what they're not telling you. The Electoral College wasn't broken, it was designed specifically to make sure that rural states, small states, and communities outside of major cities still had a voice in who becomes president. Under this compact, presidential campaigns would have zero reason to care about Virginia outside of Richmond and Northern Virginia. I mean, why would they? You just hand your votes to wherever New York and California go. Some legal scholars have argued the framers of the Constitution explicitly rejected the idea of popular elections for president, and that changing the system requires a constitutional amendment, not a state-level workaround. And here's the part that should bother everyone regardless of party. As of March 2026, every single governor who has signed this compact into law has been a Democrat, not one Republican. This wasn't bipartisan reform, this was a party using a legislative shortcut to restructure how presidents get elected without touching the Constitution. We are a republic, not a pure democracy. That distinction matters because pure democracies let 51% of the country permanently ignore the other 49%. Virginia just took a step toward erasing its own voice in national elections, and they did it while nobody was watching.
So...
Doesn't she know that this bag is not a toy?
Hey, here's the thing. Fiducia didn't know that was good, and that Spanberger was going to be on the side. She's sitting there going.
I send Don these
fly-ins.
these fly-ins as we call them, and he kind of embellishes them. So he didn't tell me that he was going to show Spanberger when she was a congresswoman. That is actually the governor of Virginia.
Yeah, but that, just so everybody knows, it was a still photo. We had some fun with AI on that.
But she did have her head
yeah,
covered.
but that wasn't for COVID.
No.
That was at the Capitol on J6 when she was freaking out that it was an insurrection.
I thought it was for COVID. But the bottom line is, she's the governor, a former CIA.
I don't think we got time for whatever this last video is.
No, we don't, because that was just, you can tune a piano, but
Did y'all hear Donna? Because when that thing started, she went, she started laughing again. And she was laughing through the whole thing. We have successfully broken Fiducia.
If we don't laugh, we'll go nuts. I really think that's the problem. If we don't laugh, we're going to go nuts with what's going on.
That's a beautiful beaver you have on.
Stop.
It is.
It is. Fits really nicely, too.
It is. It's well shaped.
Very nicely shaped. One of my favorite hats.
We'll be back before we get in trouble.
Blackfoot out of home. Cowboys didn't dance, didn't wear designer shirts. Their hearts were filled with memories, their bodies filled with hurt. They would.
This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. comply, or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.
Say what we told you to.
This is Hammer Chuck. Watch Cowboy Logic on RAV, the best show on TV.
Or you're going to end up like Teddy.
Yeah, don't end up like Teddy.
Don't want to end up like Teddy.
We built a $49 garden hose nozzle that makes every pressure washer on the market completely unnecessary. Every pressure
Hammer Chuck. Hey, for those of you that are in the Getter Barn Party.
You look real scared.
Yeah, we had Joe Biggs and Kelly Meggs on either side of him. I think I probably would have said exactly what I was supposed to say, too. Anyway, it was great to meet Hammer Chuck down there in Florida when we were down there. Listen, we're going to talk about this quite a bit over the next couple of weeks, and that is our first song that we're going to release on Real America's Music is going to drop. It's going to be the official release date is going to be May 8th. And thanks to LJ Fino and everybody at Real America's Music for moving the release date up, because we believe that this should be Memorial May and not just Memorial Day. And so we're going to release it 2 weeks earlier than we initially thought. It's going to be released on the 8th of November, which is a Friday. And let's send this song to number one. It's a beautiful song. It honors the fallen. It honors the flag and what the flag stands for, and how even after they've fallen, that flag is still there with them. We're going to give you a little bit of a taste of that song. This is from the lyric video. Ron, if you'd be so kind, let's go ahead and fire this off.
will carry you.
All right.
You know,
Ron said, I'm sorry?
I've seen that probably a dozen times, and I still get choked up.
Well, Ron,
especially that kid at the end.
Ron hit us while that was playing and said, I, for some reason, said November 8th.
Well, you're thinking about Election Day.
Yeah. It's May 8th. May 8th is when that song's going to drop. We're going to be talking about it. We sure would appreciate your support with this. It was a lot of work to make this song. And
it's Memorial May.
Memorial
that song
May.
is perfect for the
Yep.
month of May. And we thank LJ and Real America's Music. It's going to be perfect, I think.
Yep. All right. Not November 8th.
Yeah.
May 8th.
May 8th.
Okay. Thank you, Ron, for catching me. All right. On the 18th of April, there were 2 really cool weddings.
Yep.
We wanted to be at both of them. We couldn't. We had to take the one that was easier to get to, which was the one that was down in Florida for us. But we are so grateful that the great, awesome, stellar, unbelievably handsome, cool, talented David Zier was able to be at the wedding of our dear friends, Andy M. and TK Talk Show. This was up in New York or Massachusetts, up in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
At any rate, we've got a little video from that we want you guys to see because their union means a great deal to us. Their marriage means a great deal to us.
We're at the wedding for Talk Show TK and Andy M up here in Adams, Massachusetts. And the Getter Chat family came from far and wide across America here. Who do we have with us today?
K3624, Elizabeth N, Stacy T, Stormy's Kiki,
Genghis,
Mrs. Khan, Andy M,
Talk Show TK, Native Americano Patriot,
JoJo.
And I'm Hard Questions.
That's awesome, guys. And who do we love at Cowboy Logic?
We love you,
And we
have
love you too.
Just the greatest
You guys are the
folks out
coolest
there
people.
in the chat.
They're
Again,
family.
I got to reiterate here. JoJo, Hard Q, Andy M, Talk Show TK, Stacy T, Genghis and Mrs. Khan, K3624, Elizabeth M, Stormy's Kiki, and Native Americano Patriot.
Yep.
Now, you guys are just the best.
And those
David's
are their
here.
handles on Getter.
Yeah.
For those of you that aren't in the barn party, and we got to really get moving here. Those of you that are not in the barn party, sign up for Getter. It's right there on the screen. Free account. Join us in the barn party Saturday night and Sunday
best
afternoon.
audience.
All right. The other wedding was down in Florida, a lot closer for us to get to. And at 9 p.m., there were like 25 J6ers that attended this wedding. We wanted you to be able to see what happened at 9 p.m. at Legos and Olivia's wedding.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
That meant a lot to be a part of that.
That was awesome. And every one of them, still the biggest patriots,
Yep.
still the biggest Trump supporters out there.
And I know you guys thought when you started hearing those pops go off that we had these insurrectionists shooting guns. No, fireworks. Fireworks. We're going to close this segment out with something that's kind of cool. And that is, ever since the J6ers have been released, there's only been a couple of times, at least, where we were able to be with a large group of them. And some of the people that you saw in that video, we've talked to countless times, but we still hadn't been able to meet, give them a hug, handshake,
cool.
and sit down and talk to them. We took a picture.
This is the garden hose nozzle my team spent 3 years building because every pressure washer on the market kept letting people down.
Of all of the J6ers that attended Robert Morris and Olivia Pollack's wedding, Lego Man and Liv, their wedding. And we got a picture of it. It's a still picture. But we put it with another song that we've actually, A.J. Gaynor and I wrote this song, and it's one of Andy M's favorites. It's called Stronger Together, J6 Wedding. We love all of you.
Congratulations, all you guys.
Cowboying is in our blood. Cowboying is in our bruises, in our calloused hands tested by barbed wire and rope. It's in our rain-soaked jackets, our mud-stained boots to the crown of our resist-all hat. We don't forget that because we live it every day. We make our resist-all hats the same way we've done since 1927. You live out west for even the shortest time, and there's one thing you learn. You can't pretend out here. Resist-all. We live it every day.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise
raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. Can't live without me, you wanna, but you can't. Nah. Think it's funny, but honey, can't run the show on your own. I can feel my body shake, there's only so much I can take. I'll show you how a real queen behaves. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I stop breathing fire, you can't take me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but if I had one, it'd be bigger than yours. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. Disobey me, then baby, it's off with your head. Gonna change it and make it a world you won't forget. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I stop breathing fire, you can't take me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but I'm stronger than I ever was before. All the kings had their queens on the throne. We would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your
Kings and queens.
Kings and queens.
Hey, we got to do something about this, everybody. We got to get rid of these kings and queens, and the midterms is when you want to do that, and the primaries is when you want to start fixing the problem. Because if you don't do the right thing during the primaries, you're stuck during the general.
It's unbelievable. They call Trump a king when, half of the rhinos and the leftists have been in Congress for decades. But speaking of trying to make a change, let's bring on one Tori Branham, who is our pick.
How you doing, Marine?
Yes, there you go. She's a Marine. Yes, let me introduce her. Okay, and she's running in Georgia 12th against Rick Allen, who, he's been there for over a decade. In my opinion, we need a lot of changes in Washington, D.C., and we're hoping you're one of them. Okay, let me just introduce you. Lifelong conservative, rooted in your Christian faith, deep sense of purpose, single mom. The real challenges for Georgia families are something you're very familiar with. Rural hospitals, the rising cost there. In my opinion, the biggest thing is you're a Marine Corps veteran. Unless you're Obama, then you're a Marine Corps veteran. Yeah. Okay? From 96 to 2004, but you're a marksmanship instructor, a rifle expert. You worked at Camp Lejeune and overseas, and you're a small business owner training over 13,000 women. You founded the Middle Georgia Female Firearms Training Academy. That's so cool. The primary is May 19th. The early voting has already started here in Georgia. So, Tori, tell us about what you're all about, and we want to find out why people should choose you over somebody who's just, kind of there.
Well, I'm big on term limits, and I think we have a lot of domestic enemies in our government making decisions right now, and we have to have real fighters in Washington. What really drove it home for me to run for office was my daughter was in the Navy guarding the Patriot missile system for NATO overseas, and she called me. She said, I'm working 12-hour days, 80 pounds a gear. I'm locked down, forced vaccinations, and then in my free time, I'm having to do these DI classes, and that was during COVID. She said, I won't serve again under a Biden administration. She said, I grew up with 2 Marine parents and very patriotic. She said, they've just killed my morale. And I was like, and then she said the DEI classes were telling her how horrible white people were. And I told her, I said, when we were in the foxhole, we didn't care what color someone was. We knew we had to have each other's back no matter what. And then other things started transpiring over the last few years. And I was like, I took an oath a long time ago to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So I'm going to take this fight to D.C. And there's a lot of people that need to be put in check, to include Ilana Mar, Jayapal, all these people that shouldn't be serving in our government.
Well, the fact that, and we've heard this from so many veterans, you don't care what color the person is next to you in that foxhole. It's, as long as
everybody bleeds red.
Yeah, everybody bleeds red. And this is so, and finally this SPLC stuff is coming out, which I think is going to throw a whole monkey wrench in a thing. But I think also that Pete Hegseth is trying to turn this thing around too. But it's been decades in the making, this whole DEI thing, fiscal responsibility, no vaccine is on your platform, definitely pro 2A. And I think Don had a question.
Drinking warm water with cinnamon before bed eliminates this parasite from the pancreas and resets blood sugar levels and reverses type 2. This is the last time I'm sharing this here. Just a 15-second native trick forces your body to use.
Yeah, first of all, you're running against, in the primaries, you're running against a guy by the name of Rick Allen. We're in the media. And Mr. Allen, with all due respect, I couldn't pick you out of a lineup. And the reason that I say that is probably because you haven't done much, or I'd see you at some point doing something. That's one reason that we're standing behind Tory, because we're ready for people to go to Washington that are going to actually start doing something. And here's my direct question to you, Tory. In 2024, the American people made a clear statement nationwide, and we reelected Donald Trump, and we sent him to Washington with a mandate of the American people. So far, some of that mandate has been met. But the big problem is the people that are surrounding him, as well as those members in Congress, are not following through on the mandate that we clearly stated. Question, if you go to D.C., when you go to D.C., will you follow the mandate that the American people stated for Donald Trump in the election of 2024?
Absolutely. And I won't be doing it for the reasons they're doing it. A lot of people did it to keep their job. They never thought he'd get reelected again. And he did. And now we're seeing the true colors of the rhinos that are, oh, yeah, we'll support you as long as we can keep our spot. But they're really not.
Yeah, no, they're really not.
Exactly.
They really are.
I mean, and this guy, Tom Tillis, he can't get out of there fast enough. And the same with Cornyn. All right, so the big question and the big thing a lot of people are going to ask you about is you're obviously pro-ICE because you tipped ICE off to the Hyundai situation here at the plant in Georgia. Tell us a little bit about that, because it obviously, you're pro-legal immigration. I mean, ICE needs to be able to do their job.
Well, I went to the border 3 times on my own dime to see what was going on, because at the time I was just a social media influencer, and I was like, I want to see it for myself, because, I'm hearing on one station there's a lot of movement, and I'm hearing on CNN nothing's happening. So we had some time, and we went down and learned a lot. And so I took a very big interest in what was going on, the process, and it was just, I was watching the nightmare unfold. Well, the builders and trades in Savannah called me to come down for a meeting. And while we were in there, they started telling me about all these human rights violations at the Hyundai plant, all the illegals, the Koreans were trafficking them. They were allegedly, if they died, they had thrown a few of them in the ground because they didn't want to be in trouble. Some of them worked 7 days a week without pay. And they couldn't go in. The union couldn't go in because there were so many OSHA violations. They would have to stand outside of the building. There were 91 911 calls in a year. And so they told me, and they're like, we've been trying to let them know that all this is going on. And, they're getting $32 million in tax cuts to hire Americans. They're not even hiring Americans. What's really going on here? On top of that, depleting our water. They're pulling millions of gallons a day out of the aquifer. We have farmland around here. So anyway, they're like, we can't report this because nobody's listening. And so I basically reported it to ICE, everything that they told me. And I also told them, I have a huge platform online and I'm running for Congress. So I'm sure you don't want someone to know that you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
And
well, the one
a month
thing
later, the biggest ICE.
Oh, yeah. Then they all got laid off, which, I'm sorry. We need to hire
I want to know what the fallout of that was. I mean, did heads roll? Did any brass lose their jobs?
Well, let me tell you this. A month later, ICE initiated the largest ICE raid in American history. Right. And they found out through that process that 300 Koreans were here with expired visas. And what bothered me is we were told, see something, say something, and report it. And I did. And the response was, President Trump said, I didn't like the way that things played out with the Koreans, but I understand. But they were worried about how the Koreans were treated. And I thought, you know, you're coming here and you're trusted with billions of dollars. You should be able to manage your visas. But yet if we go over there, we've got to have visas, vaccinations. Our dog has to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
We've put over 1 million military on the DMZ in the last 50 years. And we're going to go over there and make sure our stuff is right. And I would have told them, if you don't like it, how we expect our rules to be followed, then we'll pull all our military out and bring them back. You can handle yourself. Because when we come to your country, we have to make sure that our paperwork, vaccination, sponsorships, everything are good.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that caught my attention. You and Greg Dolezal also, you backed Greg with his anti-Sharia statewide that he wanted to push through. We're going to have him on next week to get an update on that. You got about 45 seconds. Give us, tell people I can find you. You can see it, Tory with an I, FORGeorgia.com. And I believe it's Semper Fi Female on X. And just tell people how to follow you and to support you.
Okay, so it is ToryForGeorgia.com for my congressional website. It is Tory Branham, all one word, for TikTok, Semper Fi Female on X, and then Facebook.com/MGFFAST for Facebook. I pretty much cross post on my platforms. You can find me on there, and there's a lot of videos to look at.
Hey, thanks so much. Semper Fi, Marine.
Early
Semper Fi.
voting has started. The primary in Georgia is May 19th. Thank you so much, Tory. We'll be back with more Cowboy Logic right after this.
Patriots Relief, your America First CBD company. We are Christian, conservative, and committed to helping you feel your best. Are you tired of chronic pain holding you back? It's time for a change. Experience the remarkable healing properties of CBD, expertly designed to alleviate pain and promote internal balance. Patriots Relief is here for you. Visit our website or call now. Use your promo code to unlock exclusive savings. Patriots Relief, helping you get out of pain and live life to the fullest.
Ringing in your ears could cause a total brain collapse in less than 2 years. Tinnitus.
Yeah, you barn party drummers rock. And
Dana.
We got to say Dana's name.
Yes.
If we don't say Dana's name, he gets all upset.
But what's really
and we don't
cool
want Dana upset.
Is we got to see a lot of the Getter party over at Andy M and TK's wedding, which we showed earlier in the show. But this is Cowboy Logic.
Drumsticks.
No. You say it.
Oh, Cowboy Logic.
Laser.com.
All right.
Ron's Drumsticks. You can get them there.
We got a lot of business.
Yes, we do.
We're not going to talk about drumsticks anymore. We've got Zach Reel on here. Zach is a proud boy. He has been abused by our federal government. His family has been abused by our federal government. But prior to going down to Lego Man and Olivia's wedding last week, we got some good news.
Yeah.
And, or 2 weeks ago now. Zach, talk about the fact that you did something that very few people did with regard to J6, and quite frankly, very few people do in the legal system, and that's you went pro se. Explain to the viewers, first of all, what pro se means, why you opted to represent yourself, and the angle that you took, one of which I think is you can ask for whatever discovery you want, which they don't want. And let's talk about this motion that the DOJ did a couple of weeks ago to basically vacate Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, indictments, which is huge.
About time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on again. The last time I was on the show, I believe I talked about the plan of what I wanted to do.
They're coming to get you.
They're coming for you right now.
We can hear them in the background. I think they're coming back.
We don't want you to have any PTSD on this one.
Go ahead, man.
The timing.
Yeah, so anyway, that's perfect timing. But oh man. Anyway, so pro se is when you're representing yourself for anybody who doesn't know. And I think back maybe in November or something, I was on the show here and I was telling you how I wanted to basically force them to either give us a new trial or dismiss the case. And it would be interesting if they would do a new trial or not, because under the Trump administration, I mean, would he have wanted that to happen? I don't know. But the reason why I went pro se was because the main reason was the star witness of our trial recanted his testimony. And this was the only reason why we were convicted. Like, this man's name was brought up time after time and again in the closing statements for the federal government. And after he ends up getting his case dismissed because he wasn't pardoned, but he was never sentenced for taking his plea deal, the federal government basically tossed his case. And after that, a couple months after that, I guess he got a clean conscience and decided he was going to come forward and try to recant his testimony. And in his try, he did. He gave 2 video sworn lawyer-led depositions, and he also gave a sworn affidavit, which this all happened in August. It took me months to even get this into the court system so that way I could have it litigated. And long story short, without getting too many details, when you want to bring in new evidence for an appeal, which we had to go through because we weren't pardoned, you have to put it through the trial court first. You have to get it on the trial record. And then once the trial record is, it's litigated, then you can put it in your appeal if it doesn't go how you want it to in the trial court. So this past Friday, these past couple of weeks, there's a lot of things that's been happening. I had to go through this long, lengthy process of getting myself, registered and accepted as a pro se litigant in both the appeals court and the trials court. So finally, over these last couple of months, I finally get it to the point where I'm able to file this motion in the trial court. And the government was trying to play some games with me at first. They acted like they didn't get the videos I sent and the deposition I sent. So they delayed. They got an entire delay. They delayed their response for like a month. And this is where it gets real interesting. Their delay for their new schedule would lined up exactly when our appeal brief was due. So litigation for this Jeremy Bertino thing was not going to be litigated before our appeal was due. So we're in this like really awkward spot where like I need this new evidence on our appeal, and the government is basically trying to prevent it from getting on record. So I filed what's called an abeyance in the appeals court, which that is basically just an indefinite delay of the appeal brief schedule until that thing with Jeremy Bertino in the lower court got litigated. And I made it was a reasonable argument. It's crucial to our appeal, and yada yada yada. And the government opposed that. They opposed that motion in the appeals court, and they said, nonsense. This thing in the trial court will get solved in a couple months. Mr. Real can just file an amendment and add it on to the appeal brief schedule in a couple months. No big deal. And I was just like, I replied back to that, and I'm like, there's no guarantee that this is going to be litigated. Like this happened in August, and we're still having conversations about how we're supposed to proceed in this litigation right now. So absolutely not. I don't agree with that, and it's not in the interest of justice for this to be pushed off. And out of the blue, a couple days later, the appeals court suspended the entire appeal brief schedule. So I was like, oh, I'm on to something. Looks, the appeals court seems to, think it's a really important thing too. So, I mean, they were very adamant about not suspending that appeal before that. So the fact that they did that I was like, okay. Well, then the government responds in the trial court to the Bertino motion. And they said, and this was Jocelyn Ballantine who responded to me, by the way. And she said, oh, we should just defer litigation of this entire thing until after the appeal has commenced. After the appeal has commenced. And she didn't address anything about Jeremy Bertino, didn't address any of the accusations in the motion that Jeremy Bertino said. And I ran right back to the appeals court that night and filed another supplement motion. I was like, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is exactly why the appeals court needs to step in. And they need to defer this appeal brief schedule and force this lower court to litigate this. And 3 days later, I got an email from the federal government stating that they're withdrawing all charges.
Wow.
All right, hang on one second.
Ballantine is still there.
Explain who Jeremy is.
Yeah.
Explain who this guy is.
Okay, so Jeremy Bertino, yeah, sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Jeremy Bertino was the Proud Boy. He was not there on January 6th, but he was in group chats and everything. So that gave, according to the Biden administration, justification to do a pre-dawn raid on his house. What they were doing, it was a fishing expedition is what they were doing. They did this to a lot of people.
Right, if you want to win real cash prizes from home, and you need to check out McLuck Social Casino.
People who weren't weren't there on January 6th. And this was their prime scenario, the best case scenario to happen for him. He was already a felon, and his girlfriend had firearms in the house that belonged to her. But they used it. Yeah, they were able to twist the law and say that, like, oh, Jeremy Bertino is a felon in possession of firearms because it was in his house and yada, yada, yada. So they threatened him with seditious conspiracy. They threatened him with felon in possession of firearms. Or, we're going to send you to prison for life, yada, yada, the whole nine, if you don't cooperate against these guys. And, they basically promised him no jail time, essentially, or go to jail for life. And he snapped. He broke. He testified against us and lied on the witness stand about it. So, when he decided that he was going to, recant his testimony, I thought that was probably the most important thing that's happened to me in the last 5 years. Yeah. And that we needed to pursue that vigorously.
Did he take a plea deal?
The attorneys didn't really seem like it.
Did he take a plea? Okay, so
he pled guilty. He did.
He
pled guilty to seditious conspiracy and. Yeah,
it's just
conspiracy
it's ridiculous.
And felon in possession of firearms.
It's so unbelievable. You got the weight of the federal government coming down on common citizens, just trying to possibly do the right thing. I mean, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Well, and now we're seeing they're on the SPLC list as the bad guys. So it's all coming to light. But what is so annoying is many of the same. Now, some of them left, but this Ballantine, for her still to be there. I mean, if God forbid a Democrat gets back in, they've said they're ready to come back and arrest another 1,500 Jan 6ers. Now, this might stop that. I don't know. But it just surprises me how you can have
this would be with prejudice. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this would be with prejudice, which means It's done.
Well,
it is.
They still
done.
need to get rid of these prosecutors.
We got a bunch more questions. We're going to have Zach back for another segment here. But before we go to break, Zach, congratulations, man, to you and all of them that were commuted.
Yep.
This is long overdue. We've been talking about it forever. Congratulations. Cowboy Logic, we'll be right back.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Every star rolls a name. Every stride falls a team. Our boys are gone forever, but old glory's still here. Here's to the fallen, they stood in the gap, to the laughter and the letters that never came back. I'll hold you close till my last breath is gone. Oh, glory, the sweet glory, will tarry
All right, every star, every stripe. Come on, guys. If you've ever gotten behind us, get behind us on this one. Okay, this is our first song that's going to be released under Real America's Music. Every star, every stripe. It's our way of honoring Memorial May. Memorial May. And all of those that have fallen, and that flag still stands.
Available May 8th.
And that's right, May 8th. I think I said November 8th earlier, but it's
May
not
8th.
November. May 8th. May 8th. Download it. Let's go to number one on this and show the entire recording industry what Real America's Music is made of. Zach Reel, come on back in, brother. By the way, we got a Marine here.
Yeah. And again.
And thank you for taking an oath that never expired, even when our government, the weight of our government, was trying to crush you and your family.
Yep.
Thanks for being the patriot that you are. Donna wanted to get into some questions here, but again, before we went to break, man, congratulations. The vibe, you weren't at Lego Man's wedding, but there were like 25 J6ers down there. Ethan was down there. Tario was down there. Bees was down there. And I'm telling you, man, the vibe was like I had never seen it before.
The weight is finally off.
The weight, the pressure, it says it has to be like it was before January 6th ever happened. It was amazing. And everybody's got you to thank.
And the thing is, you're not even a lawyer. It's Cowboy Logic, quite honestly, common sense that you brought this up. But the culture is still there, in my opinion, in the DOJ. Do you have civil remedies, possible malicious prosecution, defamation? Your civil rights were totally violated. Your lives were all ruined. I mean, it's
constitutional rights.
Constitutional rights, and many of those prosecutors are still there.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like just like I mentioned earlier with Jocelyn Ballantine, she was basically the lead prosecutor of our trial. She was like the supervisor essentially. Anytime like something shady or something about like confidential human sources or something, anything that looked like was going to help us, like the courtroom would get suspended, the media would get kicked out, and then Jocelyn Ballantine would come in and she would speak for the prosecution attorneys, and the judge would just be like, okay, and just take whatever she said as fact and just toss out any of our arguments, and then you never hear the end of it. You never hear it again. I mean, and I don't know how many times we had mistrial debates under seal. it was crazy, and like she led the way on every single one of them. And not only did she still have a job, all the attorneys on all the prosecutors on our case still have their jobs.
And she's throwing the monkey wrench into your case until it finally got thrown out, essentially.
Yeah. Like I said, she since we've all been out, anytime I've filed any type of motion in the trial court, she was always the one to respond to it. So it was nice to be able to catch her in a contradiction with the prosecutors in the appeal court, because I think that was ultimately what boxed them in essentially and forced them to either make a decision on throwing the case out or letting this Jeremy Bertino stuff come out, because I don't know what he was going to say. What else was he going to say that was going to, expose some of the things that were going on during the DOJ at the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now,
and,
on Friday the 17th of April, little Jamie Raskin filed a motion. Okay. In order to understand that motion, I had to feed it into.
Right, if you want to win real cash prizes from home, and you need to check out McLuck Social Casino.
Grok and have them explain to me what he was trying to do. I also asked Grok at that time, based on your court documents and Raskin's document, I said, is this going to affect this at all? And Grok basically said, no. He's just trying to do his thing. What are your thoughts on little Jamie Raskin?
Oh, let me tell you, the most satisfying motion I filed in the last year, it wasn't the kill shot motion, I think, which was the supplement that led to the dismissals. It was actually being able to respond to Jamie Raskin. I sat in prison for 4 years and watched this lying, treasonous scumbag just slander my name and lie about my friends and lie about countless other January 6ers. And I wrote a motion up responding, and I pointed out all the blatant lies he made, and I actually recommended that the court either sanction him over it, or I told him to just like, hey, look, maybe you should just remove this motion, and hope the DOJ doesn't prosecute you for it, because it's illegal for a licensed attorney to knowingly lie on an official amicus brief like that. So and it's all the stuff I put in this brief here, and it's funny because you know what? He can't hide behind a Joe Biden pardon no more. He got a blanket pardon from AutoPen the day, because he was on the J6 House Committee. But it doesn't mean that doesn't give him a license to commit crimes for the rest of his life. So he better hope the DOJ doesn't decide to prosecute him.
I wish they would look into that AutoPen, but they're not.
What do you think is going to happen in the next coming weeks, coming months? What do you see happening? And I want to follow that up with a question that I've talked to Megs, Biggs, Ethan about countless times, and that is, among others, like Jeff McKellop. When you guys go to apply for a job, even in a case like Jeff McKellop, who was never convicted of anything.
He's never even tried.
All they do is Google his name, and they get 25 pages of he's an insurrectionist that beat up cops.
Yeah.
Now, how do you fix that with what's going on?
Well, as far as Google searching names, I mean, the only thing really could do, and I'm sure there's probably some lawyers getting ready to, burn our phones up a little bit. But it's really to go after some of these media outlets to spread these lies, and now with this whole SPLC thing coming out, now it's finding out that the Democrats are actually manufacturing hate and violence. And it's like all these media companies, they all cited the SPLC when they're pushing these bogus narratives and stuff like that. So I mean, outside of going after all the media companies and asking for corrections, there's not really much else you could do there. But this dismissal with prejudice will wipe out the background checks, essentially. Like, it'll be like we were never even charged.
Yep.
Which is huge, especially for civil suits, because now, like, I sat in prison for 4 years for charges that I, essentially wasn't even technically charged with anymore. So that right off the bat,
the civil suits have to go away too, right? The civil suits will go away.
No, he should file civil suits.
Yeah, they should.
The ones that are against you guys.
We have a lot of.
No, the ones that you're bringing need to move forward.
Oh yeah. Yes, correct. But yeah, I do see the Trump. It's Trump versus Smith. I think we're all co-defendants with President Trump on that case, and it's totally bogus. There's 7 Capitol police officers that are just basically just accusing us of stuff that we weren't even involved with. I think. It's really just a political hit piece, and the fact that these cases are getting tossed, that really kind of destroys their whole narrative and that entire thing. So it should be interesting to see how long that even lasts at this point.
Yeah.
On January 21st, the morning of the 21st of 2025, as Kelly Meggs and I were making a 6-hour trip away from his prison, obviously we were sitting there going, why did you guys get commuted when everybody else got a pardon? And I can tell you, and I'm certainly not tipping a hat at myself or Meggs, but this is what we saw happening.
Yeah.
We saw this is going to end up in vacating the indictments against you guys. And that is going to be the beginning of the house of cards falling with this J6, I'm not going to say it, narrative. But I just want to congratulate you. You have been heralded and praised by lawyers for the work that you did on this, which you get a lawyer to praise you and talk about how great you are. Man, I don't think I've ever had one do that with me. But congratulations, because you put a lot of work into this. Your licenses that you had as a successful businessman will be restored. That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
And I can remember talking to your beautiful wife when you were locked up. Hopefully this is all going to make the real family real good.
DefendZach.com.
Yep, you want to help him out, that's where you can go. But Zach, again, congratulations, man. I appreciate you coming on. We'd have had you on a couple of weeks ago, but we had to go down to a wedding in Florida and hang out with some of your other bros. But listen, dude, when this thing is resolved, we want you back so we can just have a party for two full segments on the show.
I'm down for that. You let me know. I'm in.
You got it.
Thank you, Zach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back with more. We've actually got an Oath Keeper that's going to be coming up next.
Making her debut
here. Cowboy Logic, J6 coverage like nobody else. We'll be right back.
If I was to tell you about Western Welding Academy, what I would say is that it's a tribe of people. We all have this fundamental belief and passion to build a better generation. And it's our way to give back to this nation that's just given us so much. There's a huge absence of work ethic, accountability, and integrity. And this is our way to teach and instill these skills and values in the youth. It's inevitable. If you come to Western Welding Academy, you're going to learn how to weld. But what you really need is you need these other skills, and that's why we show up to work every single day. Here at Western Welding Academy, immediately we recognize the fact that really good instructors, that is key to making really, really good welders. They're the ones that are going to mentor you, inspire you, teach you, sometimes, get you back in line if you need it. But collectively, they've got over 300 years of experience. These guys have been around the block 6 or 7 times. If you take advantage of that and the curriculum and the tooling, coupons, everything that goes into that, you will have work ethic, accountability, and you will have integrity.
just as loaded, ready to crack. This is my calling, caught in pain, born for the fight, baptized in.
Right, if you want to win real cash prizes from home, and you need to check out McLuck Social Casino. Over 700 games, a live casino experience, and huge jackpots that can be won from just a small.
Painted the target, thunder overhead, shockwaves screaming, bury the dead, never forget. Never forget.
All right, never forget, everybody. I will forever be indebted to Jeff McKellop for sending an email on 9/11 that was the inspiration behind us, 9/11/23.
When he was incarcerated.
When he was locked up in Fort Worth. And that song someday will be released on Real America's Music. And I thank and love our brother, Jeff McKellop. Now, we've got another J6er that I feel terrible.
You should. You should feel terrible.
I feel terrible because
I talk to Connie Meggs all the time, and she talks about Laura Steele all the time.
And you know what has happened, everybody? 3 years, 4 years slid past us.
It's true.
And we have never interviewed this amazing woman. And she was in the Oath Keeper 3 trial, which was laughable to say the least. That Connie was in there, the Parkers were in there, there was an autistic kid in there, Whip was in there, Beeks was in there for a little while until they figured out they didn't want to have anything to do with him. But Laura Steele is going to join us. Laura, please come on in here. Welcome to Cowboy Logic, my friend. And you've got a real unique story here, okay? Because you were in one of the higher profile Oath Keeper 3 trials, along with Connie Meggs, and you got to see how absolutely pathetic the D.C. district courts are. You served time. You're former law enforcement. Your husband was the police chief of the town you guys live in. Your kids are law enforcement. And you end up spending about a year in prison for your role in January 6th, which was basically to provide security for speakers that were there on J5 and J6. You got railroaded like all the rest of them. But you've got a relative that happens to be your brother that flipped and ended up doing no time and testified against the Oath Keepers. So, hey, Laura, welcome. We don't have any more time for the interview, but I appreciate you. I had to set that up, ladies and gentlemen, because this is crazy land.
But this happens. I mean, we've seen family members flipping on, and taking the side of the government so they avoid jail time. And a lot of this
hold on.
comes
We're gonna let Laura talk. Here's the deal, Laura. First question I want to ask you is, why were you at J6 in the first place?
Well, to go back in time, 2015, when Trump supporters were being assaulted in crowds, I always said somebody should do something. Somebody should help people. And I was busy working with family and whatever, and I didn't go. But when 2020 came around and we were hearing that Antifa was going to be there and they were going to be violent, my little voice in my head said, you should go. And my brother had reached out to me, and he had just joined the Oath Keepers and asked me, if I want to do security. At first I said no, but then the more I saw the chats online that talked about violence that might happen, the more my inner voice said I should go. And so I went to help people be safe. That's it.
That's what first responders and police officers and former military do here. I mean, to a man and a woman, every single J6er we've talked to, and your hat, show us your hat, mega MAGA. Okay, ultra MAGA. I mean, they still back President Trump, and some of them, were given decades in prison. And this is the same idea that I saw when I worked in New York with the people who run into the towers on 9/11 instead of away. This is that mindset. The people are, you're just doing the right thing to try to help as many people as you can. And you weren't really even an actual Oath Keeper. Your brother was.
Right. He got into the Oath Keepers around December. And it was around January 3rd, I think he sent me an application, told me I had to fill out the application. And I just thought, well, I'm volunteering. Maybe they just need to have a role of who all is going to be there. And so I filled out the application, and then I never heard anything. I never heard anything back from, I sent it to Kelly Meggs, and my brother told me, well, Kelly's probably just really busy and he just didn't see it. And he asked me to send another one, and I did. Of course, the prosecution used that against me. They said, that I was basically overly zealous to join the Oath Keepers, whereas I was just trying to make sure that they got my application.
Yeah. All right. Now, your brother, is it okay that I name him? Am I allowed to do that on? Okay. Graydon Young.
Yes.
He ended up flipping early in the game. Okay?
Yeah, I think he was the first one.
All right. So he cut a deal with the feds. And do you have any idea of what exactly that deal was and in turn what he had to do?
Originally, he was told that he would get 5 to 6 years. And that they wanted him to testify. And then they told him that if he backed out, that they would charge him with seditious conspiracy, and he would be in the first trial with the first group. So they basically controlled him.
He did zero prison time.
Well, if he thinks they controlled him then, they control you. You strike a deal like that, they control you the rest of your life. Is that not correct?
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah, I know so.
Talk about the jury. I mean, before we came on the air, you said, you're supposed to have a jury of your peers. That is impossible for someone like you or I to get a jury of our peers in Washington, D.C. And right. this one juror who spoke out on C-SPAN a few years back, it was pretty obvious she had you guys guilty before she even went in there. And I can't believe someone who worked at C-SPAN and CNN would even be on the jury. But she's not the only one that was questionable.
Yeah, we had a retired district attorney, a federal district attorney from D.C. and her. And she said they worked together to influence the jury. She also said the jury initially, when they went in, they were not interested in convicting us. And then she said that she always believed it was an insurrection. So she should have never sat on the jury to begin with. She should have been honest, forthright, and said, I'm completely biased. I cannot, honestly be unbiased. And then we also had 5 or 6 members of BLM. And the thing that gives you pause is Oath Keepers were doing security against or for the people against Oath Keepers, BLM, all throughout the summer.
Yeah. And Antifa.
Because of all their protests.
Yep.
And then you're going to have them sit on the jury where they were doing protection. It's just, how in the world can you have somebody like that? It's like if you had Oath Keepers sitting on the jury for BLM.
Well, you can't make this stuff up. The bottom line is, no offense to the defense attorneys, Laura, but what the hell were they thinking when they said, yeah, she'd be fine, or yeah, they'd be fine, or yeah, that's this gal over here, or this dude that was a prosecutor. Yeah, let's bring him in.
Out of jury. We ran out of people. We were on our last batch.
They had to recycle jurors.
So do defense attorneys at that point go, yeah, we're screwed?
I don't understand how this is even allowed.
Wrong move, defense attorneys.
I mean, this is a microcosm of the problems we have in this judicial system across the country. Even Donald Trump is trying to make sure anything that he goes, against the deep state with has to happen in maybe.
That's why there is no diabetes in Israel. If you are a Christian and don't know that the cure
South Florida and not D.C. or the Southern District of New York, because you're screwed. And then you have Brady violations, which I want to get into after the break. I mean, this is
before we go to break. You got about 45 seconds. Do you know exactly what your brother testified against the Oath Keepers. What did he say? What did he do?
He testified that there wasn't a direct, like, complicit conspiracy. It was implicit, meaning that he thought that there was a conspiracy. So he thought that because of chats that happened over a period of time from, I guess, December to January, where people were talking, that there was some kind of conspiracy. And so because he thought there was a conspiracy, there was a conspiracy.
So the whole case was built on what he thought.
I'm going to leave it at this before we go to break.
It's unbelievable.
He joined the Oath Keepers in December of 2020. Okay? That right there tells you a lot.
Yeah.
That right there
SPLC
tells you a lot. And here's why. There was a lot of new members to everything.
Yep.
In December of 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Laura Steele with us finally. And we're going to have her back for one more segment. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. Kelly Meggs. I'm sure you know me at this point if you watch Don and Don at all. But tonight I let the dogs out for the last time and was kind of doing my nightly ritual. I sit outside a lot because I don't like being inside because of the jail cell thing. But I reflected a lot on this past week and with Charlie Kirk being assassinated and everything that happened with him. You know, our prayers all go out to him, but we also have a sense of what can we do? What can we do as Americans and as citizens to stand up against this? And what we can do is we can support companies that support us and support what we believe in our country. And Sugar Creek Goods is one of those companies. I just took a shower, like before bed. That's what I do every night. And I thought about this while I was in the shower. I'm like, this is a fantastic product. Not only is it an amazing product, but it's a company that supports our beliefs and in America. So if you want to do something, use your promo code 1776 and make a difference. Buy from an American company that supports Americans. It supports what we believe in. Not what the media and everybody else tells you to believe in, but the truth. Use your promo code 1776. And God bless you. And God bless America.
You want to pay J6ers? You're damn right I want to pay J6ers. If you got wronged by the government, then you should be made right.
Pay them
now. DC has a bunch of money. They're sending millions every week to the Taliban.
Yep.
Think of how that would repay all these Gen 6ers
Well, I got
who
a
can't get
feeling
jobs.
with this Southern Poverty Law Center thing, as well as Zach Reel and some of these, the motion to dismiss by the DOJ, I got a feeling there's going to be some dollar signs behind that.
Well.
Unless this laughable Congress ends up passing bills. And I'm sure there's going to be a way to get around that, too.
They're trying.
All right, let's get back in here with Laura Steele. Laura, thank you for tolerating me for 4 years before we actually got you on the show. We appreciate that. You know, before we went to break, I was kind of voicing an opinion that I'm lumping Graydon into the new guys that popped into the mix in December. But I think you wanted to address that, not necessarily on his behalf, but to keep things factual.
So he wanted to join the Proud Boys. He had gone to a rally in D.C. like in the end of October, beginning of November, and came back wanting to be a part of Proud Boys. And I told him that he wasn't really a fit for Proud Boys. One, because it's a drinking group, and he had a drinking problem in the past. So that's not something that he should join. So I went to work and talked to some friends and found somebody that former military and asked him for suggestions. And he suggested Oath Keepers. And so I sent a text to my brother and said, hey, why don't you look into the Oath Keepers? And so he did, applied, and became a member, and told me that it was a legitimate group. And I said, well, good. I hope you found a good home.
Yeah. And the SPLC is targeting both the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, as well as Charlie Kirk.
But it should be noted he did no time, correct?
Yeah.
He didn't. That was part of. Do you get a 5K letter when you cooperate?
Yeah.
And most people that cooperated did get the 5K letter, and so yeah, he didn't get. His sentencing was. I don't even know if he got anything with sentencing.
Probably probation.
He said they were.
But I can tell you this: that 5K letter, hey man, that sticks with you the rest of your life. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, because it's gonna follow you the rest of your life. They own your ass. All right, let's talk about some Brady violations.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, he actually called the events traitorous, and he walked out with 0 prison time. Okay, Brady violations. We've seen this up the wazoo over and over and over again. We've even proven it with videotapes in the first Oath Keeper trial, how Harry Dunn lied under oath, and still, so far, really, nothing's really being done. Tell us about what happened in your trial as far as that's concerned with the Brady violations and not allowing you to defend yourself properly.
So there's a couple things with mine. My brother, the way my attorney and I saw him, was a wild card. And so I didn't feel like I could testify, and because he could have been brought back in for rebuttal, and he could have rebutted me and then hurt my co-defendants. And so didn't want to testify because I didn't want other people to get hurt. And I had also spoken to the DA, FBI, and all that in a pro offer where they were offering me the same deal as my brother, 5 to 6 years. And the reason why I spoke to them is because I wanted them to know the things that I had seen and what I did. And so Kelly Meggs was in front of me at the door, and he was yelling at people to stop pushing. And Connie was telling people to stop pushing. And then there were people surrounded me that were saying, stop pushing. And then we got pushed in. And then once we were in, and ironically, the camera was not working at the Columbus door entrance. Gee. And I'll tell you that does not happen in a federal building. It doesn't. It doesn't happen in a hospital building. You put in a work order immediately to get that fixed. That's just not believable. So that camera didn't work, because that would have shown that there was, we got pushed in. You wouldn't want to show that. And then we were inside, and I started picking up the velvet ropes that were scattered all over the floor, because it's a safety issue. It's got a metal hook at the end. It could be used as a weapon, or it could get stolen. So I gathered like 10 of them, and they're like wet noodles. They kept flopping out of my hands. And so I was waddling to the wall to get them placed by the wall. And then when I went back to walk back to where my brother and the
I've been taking Digesticare for 3.5 years. It's a wonderful product. It has greatly improved.
rest of the Oath Keepers are standing. The same hallway that we had gone down, the Senate hallway, there was 4 large fire extinguishers just sitting there at the entrance. Nobody was watching them. And so, again, that's a safety issue. So I went to pick them up 2 at a time, but I couldn't. They were just too heavy. So I picked up 1 at a time, took it down to the end of the hallway where I had seen a police officer earlier, and dropped them off one by one. One of them went missing, but I did move 3 of them. And I talked to the DA and told him about it. So the whole purpose of that was, give me that video. And I never got the video.
Of course not.
Well,
just like there was no video in front of Nancy Pelosi's office.
Well, the J6 committee was told to preserve all the videos and the evidence, and they destroyed it. And still nothing has happened to them. The original sham J6 committee.
Talk about, Laura, we've only got a couple of minutes left. I'd love for you to talk about what it's like for a former cop to go into the federal prison system.
Oh, that's pretty sketchy. It's, because after you're in it for a while, you develop mannerisms, the way you stand, the way you talk, the way you have your hands. And people found out, or just figured it out, like you were a cop, weren't you? And, you have to be honest, because all they have to do is make a phone call and find out.
Yeah.
And so, in the beginning, it was very uneasy, but at the very beginning, I went straight to solidarity confinement. So I learned pretty much to adjust to the system in there.
Yeah.
And so,
how much time did you do? How much time did you do initially in pretrial detention, and then with regard to your sentencing up until your release?
I was in Durham, North Carolina for about a month and a week for pretrial, and then I was on home confinement for about 2 years. And then after sentencing, I went to Philadelphia for 8 months.
Yeah.
What a dump.
Connie, same thing.
What a total dump Philadelphia's prison is.
All right, so real quick, then you have a situation which we're finding with so many of the J6ers, and they're the finest people you'd ever meet. 75% of them are former military and police officers. You can't get a job because once they look you up on Facebook, they're like, oh, you look really good, but no thanks, but no thanks.
No, but you got 20 pages of being an insurrectionist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's all over the media. You don't stand a chance. Anybody does any kind of research on you, it pings all this SPLC stuff and DOJ stuff, and then your local paper has all kinds of nice things to say about you. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to talk about where you live, but ladies and gentlemen, Laura is in, I would say, northern North Carolina. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, we're in the Piedmont.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
High Point area.
Anybody up there that owns a business that's MAGA, that understands what these J6ers went through, and if you're up there within 30 miles, 40 miles of Laura, send us an email and we'll put you in touch with her.
Yeah.
And that way you can hire a patriot.
And then with what's going on, what's being revealed with the Southern Poverty Law Center, I mean, this to me, unfortunately, the damage is done. When you've got 5 or 6 years of insurrection up the wazoo, people can't change their mind. I mean, I've talked to family members, I've talked to people who supposedly are into the news, and they're still, but J6. Yeah, but J6. And it's so ridiculous.
All right. Hey, I got to jump in here. The Italian will keep talking. I'll clean until next week's show. Laura, we want you to stay with us for the most beautiful national anthem ever sung, that by your beloved brothers and sisters in C2B, the J6ers. Gentlemen, hats off. Ladies and gentlemen, hands over your hearts. We appreciate you trusting us with 2 hours of your valuable time. And we'll see you next week. Laura, we love you like a sister.
God bless you, Laura.
Love you too.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.